Everyone, welcome to the Town of Goffstown Select Board meeting, September 8th. Would you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first order of business is the acceptance and correction of minutes from 8/25/25, and it was just public. There was no non-public at that meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for 8/25/2025.
Second.
Motion by Josh, seconded by Mark. Any discussion, questions, changes? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion carries. Public comment, we have,
I think you do have one announcement.
I got this right here.
Okay, perfect.
Supervisor of the checklist will be in session at Town Hall downstairs at room 104 at 16 Main Street, Goffstown, New Hampshire, on Thursday, September 11th, 2025, from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. New voter registrations as well as name, address, and party affiliation changes can be made at this time with appropriate documents. New voters must bring proof of citizenship, date of birth, home address, and photo ID with them to register to vote. RSA 654:12 is what mandates that. Any person with a disability who needs to provided a reasonable accommodation in order to participate, please call Town Hall at 603-497-8990, extension 100, at least 72 hours in advance so arrangements can be made. And that's that for announcements. First up on our agenda tonight is with the Goffstown Main Street program, proposed a community engagement initiative scarecrow decorating contest. And who's here?
Before you get to that, I think in the confusion, you skipped over public comment.
Oh, okay, public, anybody here for public comment? Come on up, sir. I need your name and address.
Yes, do I just sit here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, name is Brian King, live in 774 Back Mountain Road.
Where was that, what address?
774,
Back Mountain Road?
yep.
Okay.
I've been here since '98, and I've participated in a lot of different town boards and whatnot over the years. So there is one thing in your packet for the Merrimack Valley Amateur Radio Association, equipment up on the municipal tower on the mountain, and I'm here as a member of the town, basically a member of that group, and also a licensed amateur radio operator. Voice my support for that, because we are providing a service to the hospitals in the area to provide connectivity in the event of there's an internet outage. It provides alternate capabilities for voice and data communication. So
Great.
that's what I wanted to mention.
Did anybody have any questions? I know we saw the paperwork in our folder.
I saw it.
I think you're all set.
All right, great.
Thanks for
you.
coming in.
Thank you.
Now, the Goffstown Main Street program.
Name, address, is that what we need?
Sure.
Okay. Sherry Reinfurt, 27 Shirley Park Road, Goffstown.
Tina Lawton, I'm in Manchester, Ash Street.
Are you a member of the Main Street or?
I am a
Yeah.
member of the Main Street program.
Yep. So we are here representing the Goffstown Main Street program as the board of directors. Tina is the president and I'm the treasurer. So we have come up with a community initiative that we would love to have everybody participate in. As you guys know, we decorate the lamp posts for this past year. We did it in October for Halloween, so it was decorated for the Pumpkin Fest. And then we also did it at Christmas time. We wrapped them so that they were like candy canes. A lot of positive feedback. So we're looking at, we've done it as the board, but how can we involve the community in coming together? And in a conversation that I was having with Scott Gross, he mentioned that Goffstown School District, and I don't know if it was the whole school, but the SAU, had a similar contest several years back. So the pictures that you see across the front of the presentation are actually from that contest, so different scarecrows. And so we thought as a board, I thought as my idea, I will take ownership, and the board said we thought it was a good idea to present to the town, just as a way to bring the people together and do something that's fun. Everybody refers to Goffstown as a Hallmark town, and whenever you watch any Hallmark movie around Halloween, fall, they always have scarecrow contests. So what better way to represent Goffstown than this? During the Pumpkin Regatta, as a result of all the volunteers throughout the years, not just on the board, but in the community itself, we have literally brought national attention to Goffstown, to the Pumpkin Regatta. So this would be a wonderful way for people to showcase, for other people from out of state, which is already happening, to come, but just to bring a different level of involvement from our town. So that's basically what the introduction of the Scarecrow Contest would be, to build excitement leading up to the Pumpkin Regatta in through Trick or Treat, okay, and to provide decorations for the downtown area. The contest details would be all residents would be invited to participate, businesses, schools, organizations, whomever are eligible to participate in this contest. We would like them to be attached to the lamppost simply because that's what Goffstown is. We've got the old-fashioned lampposts, and you decorate them, and when you drive right down that main street into the village, it's this wow factor. And I think scarecrows from other people that make them, not just the Main Street program, would bring it to a whole new level. That said, we would like it to be in keeping with the theme for this year's Pumpkin Regatta, which is Alice in Wonderland. And so you'll see throughout the presentation I've provided, this first image is what we did last year. We did the corn stalks with the pumpkin faces and the flowers. But if you look throughout the presentation, you'll see other scarecrows that other communities have actually done. And when I get to the next page under proof of concept, you'll see they had a theme of of Little Red Riding Hood. So every scarecrow within their community was along that theme. So we would like to adopt that similar theme. Being Alice in Wonderland. The duration of the scarecrows would be October 1st through October 31st. They would have to be taken down by October 31st. There is a registration window of September 15th to the 30th. People can express their interest and actually register to participate in the Scarecrow Contest. Assembly is 1 week, so it's October 1st through the 6th. Those scarecrows get to be put up, and then judging is done before, so from October 6th through the Pumpkin Regatta on October 19th, judging happens. And judging is done by members of the community. Each scarecrow is assigned to a pole, and each pole is numbered, so the community has an opportunity vis-a-vis online, the Main Street program, Facebook Main Street program, and or delivering it to the office, what their choice is. So moving on, proof of concept, towns everywhere. This is just a smidge of towns that are actually already doing this. There's some towns in here that have been doing it for 26 years. Some, this is their second year. Some, it's their flagship year like us. So there is enthusiasm around scarecrow contests. So we would be one of a lot to incorporate this into our town. And depending on the success of this, which I think it could be hugely successful, this is something that we could do on a regular basis. So it could be, this could be the first of, and on an annual theme that people would then come to look forward to, not just the Pumpkin Regatta, but the Scarecrow Contest that happens as, preempting the regatta. Okay? Community involvement, it encourages creativity, friendly competition, promotes foot traffic to the Main Street businesses. Part of our focus as the Goffstown Main Street program is to promote the businesses within the village. By putting the scarecrows on the poles, it actually brings more foot traffic because people are going to want to stop as they've driven through the village. And when you stop to look, what do? You shop. Provides photo opportunities, it engages the schools, civic groups, families, provides fun decorations during the regatta, and enhances festive spirit of the Goffstown downtown area. So to the logistics, there would be an entry fee. It would be run by the Goffstown Main Street program. It would be $50 because it is a fundraiser, but that includes the body, the arms, and the head. and they get to get creative for however it is that they want to do it. These would be attached to the lamppost, similar to how we attach the corn stalks, and that was by twine, by fishing line, by wire, to make sure that they are secure. One of the packet that I just handed you as I came in has all of the guidelines for all of these things, and somebody from the Main Street program, vis-a-vis me, would go along, my husband and I, and make sure that those things are 100% secure, because we're the ones that would get the phone call if something were to fly off. But again, everything is in here about the guidelines of how to make the scarecrows, what they can and cannot do, and I'll go over that in just a minute. But so for $50 or $75 for two. Okay, so you would get a discount if they wanted to do two, and then the burlap sack. The creativity is priceless. The judging, again, like I said, is done by the community at large. There would be prizes, and there would be 3 categories. So most creative, best business, best family and group. Okay, voting is done by the community, like I said, in ballot boxes or online. Prizes would be cash and or gift cards to businesses within the village, all right? And then they would also, if this were to become an annual thing, we would have a plaque that would be put up, and with their names of recognition, best of, scarecrow contest, and that would be housed within the Main Street office and or here in Town Hall. That would be a fun little thing. And like I said before, voting happens during the, before and during the regatta, and the winners are announced vis-a-vis phone call, as well as on our public Facebook page and our website. The winners would all be announced, and then they would be able to, and it's a 1-week period, so we can tally up all of the votes, do a photo opportunity of them with their scarecrow, and then we can do a social media campaign on this is the results of what the scarecrow competition did.
How many polls are there?
I believe there's 39 polls throughout the village.
Okay. And when you say community, you're just talking about the Main Street community of this area,
Oh
not
no,
the...
I'm talking about Goffstown.
Well,
Goffstown.
So people
So-
in Penadville could be,
If they
and they
wanted
have
to.
polls there too, so
Absolutely.
they have some polls there too that are...
Right. So our first focus, because this could go wild, right? But our first focus is we would fill up the village, because the purpose of it is to have decorations down through the village as people go through Goffstown, so they can see our hallmark town, right? As well as the pumpkin regatta. The pumpkin regatta is in the village. However, if we have a business, say that's in Penardville, say Jacques Flowers wanted to do something in front of theirs, and businesses would have a preference, and it's outlined here in the rules and entry. If a business says, I want to join the scarecrow contest, they have first right of that pole if it's sitting in front of their business, right? But if they say, I don't want to, anybody can have it, then Julie down the street we could assign that pole.
Okay.
So our first thing would be, let's get the poles that are assigned in the village, and then we can expand beyond that, because
Well, when we say community, I look at as we represent the whole...
Oh,
Penadville,
100%.
Goffstown. So-
Yep.
So it's,
Yep.
we represent the
Yeah.
town of Goffstown, which includes other areas. you know.
absolutely it does. Absolutely it does. But again,
So how many, there were 39 polls?
there's 39 poles in the village,
Assuming
and that's
nobody does
between the
those,
parks.
$1,950.
Huh?
So basically, they'd be able to raise up to $1,950 is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it depends how many people buy too.
Right.
Right. And then you take out of that the supplies, and then you take out of it the prize money. And so, yes, so this could potentially be, just a great, wonderful event. And even if it's 2 people that do it, it can still be a great, wonderful event.
Josh?
Yeah, please. Thank you. So the cleanup I see is between the 20th and the 31st.
Yes.
Why not make the cleanup after Halloween?
We could do that, it's just for 30 days, and that's what we did with ours.
Yeah.
I didn't want to extend it too far for purposes of presentation, so this obviously is first draft, so totally open to feedback on here. But if somebody has their their scarecrow up, and they needed to take it down earlier. We want it to be at least through the pumpkin regatta, because that's when judging is. So, you know, we can have it, October 31st is a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so we could extend that to November 2nd if you wanted to give them the weekend to clean it up.
Well, I'm just curious, like, I get the value of the fundraiser, you know, being that you are a charity, I get that. One concern I have is that anybody removing it on October 31st, there are gonna be people downtown, and that could cause some chaos, so either I'd want it to like end before the 31st, or I want it to start after the 31st.
Valid point. Yep, absolutely valid point. So again, we're totally open to when that is. If it was going to be the 31st, it would be by a deadline because of the trick-or-treaters that are coming in. I don't imagine anybody would want to interrupt trick-or-treating to go take down their scarecrow either, which was why there was a window.
Yeah, and I just think if it's also to, you know, give the town some, you know, beauty in the process of that, then why not just have them do the cleanup after the end of, you know, Halloween? It's kind of what I'm thinking.
Absolutely, right. So we could
Depends
say,
on the degradation of it. I don't know how long those things last, and, you know, I
well,
mean,
we had,
you wouldn't want
Yeah.
things flopping around out there, you know.
right, well, we had corn stalks, and we put the corn stalks up first week in October, and they stayed up all the way through October 31st. My husband and I took them down on November 1st.
I highly doubt that wood in the burlap's gonna go in a month. Just depends on what they stuff it with.
Right, depends on what they stuff it with, and that, so to that, and I don't say what they can stuff it with, because that's their creativity. The face is their creativity, which is why we don't provide them, you know, the face, they can do that. But it does say, if you look under construction guidelines in here, it does have in here, all scarecrows must be handmade, because it is a contest, so no commercial costumes. Scarecrows must use the kit. So a scarecrow, in order to be judged, has to have this in it, okay, as part of it. Living materials are allowed, but perishable, like cut pumpkins, may not last the full month, to your point, Peter. Additional props such as hay bales or corn shucks are permitted if contained within the assigned space, and then no loose hay or straw. So to the point of what are they stuffed with, if the stuffing is such that it can fly out, that will not be acceptable. And when we actually attach them to the lampposts, because they know that what is acceptable and is not acceptable, when we attach them to the lamppost with them, that's our opportunity to say, hey, let's fix this. However you want to do it creatively, let's fix it so it doesn't fly away. Okay, you know, and I also say in here, and they acknowledge that they're responsible for keeping an eye on it. And so how does the town monitor that? Because just the same way we had when we had our scarecrows up, we don't want you guys to have to call us, right? So we monitored it, and, you know, I mean, I live right around the town, so as I see something, their application to join has, and if you look here, it has a little spot down here. It has, obviously, their contact information. We fill this part out. What lamppost are they attached to? There is a number attached to their scarecrow. That's all down here also. So if, you know, if it happens to be in front of Town Hall, Derek calls and says, hey, there's an arm flopping. I can see who's on lamppost number 2 and give them a call and give them an opportunity to go down and correct. Now, there is also a clause in here that says that if after they've been called it's not corrected, that we do have the right to take it down. You know, just because the purpose of this is a beautification for a period of time, okay? That they cannot use any stakes or spikes or poles driven into the ground, which is what this is, and a lot of the lampposts are on solid cement anyway, so they have to be adhered to the base of the pole. They cannot use the electricity that's on the poles. If they wanted to use battery-operated lights as part of their presentation, they could certainly do that as well, but that they can't poke anything. There are some that are actually have dirt around them, but they can't use the poles because we don't know what sprinkler lines are there. And we don't want to damage any wires or anything like that, and so that's the purpose of that part of the disclaimer.
You mentioned they could have hay bales. I would have a concern if a hay bale on the sidewalk. A lot of those poles are on sidewalks, and if you had the hay bale there, then you're restricting.
Right, so there, it also says here, in here, there is a piece for that, because I thought about that. There are some poles that could accommodate a hay bale with like a scarecrow sitting on it, right? But there are some that could not, and there is a clause in here that says they cannot obstruct sidewalks and, or, you know, pedestrian walkways, and so, and there's also a part in here that says they cannot attach to trees or benches or anything other than the lamppost that has been assigned to them, because there are some that are sitting right next to benches, there are some that are sitting next to trees that they may want to attach an arm to, but we don't want that.
Jim, you got any questions?
No, I've heard them all.
Mark?
Oh, all set.
I'm all good.
All good? So, motion,
I'd like to make a motion to approve
Main Street's
the
request.
Main Street's request for the downtown Goffstown Scarecrow Contest with modification to the dates.
Okay,
Perfect.
Second.
motion by Josh, seconded by Jim. Any discussion, questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Oh,
Before or after Halloween, I guess would be my only question.
I would prefer after Halloween, however.
Yeah. I
So
would-
November 1st and 2nd, which is a Saturday and Sunday, and so we can say they need to be down, they've got 2 days to take them down, that
That's
I
fine.
feel is
Yeah,
sufficient?
that-
Okay,
Okay.
so I'll modify the takedown, but, and everybody's okay with the put up October 1st to the 6th, and then everything starts from there on. Okay, thank you very much.
You okay with the dates? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained?
Yay! Thank you, this is gonna be awesome.
Main Street did have another.
We have one really quick thing, that we want to update you on the electrical boxes.
Is that what's on the box back here?
Yes, yep, it's on the back side of what I handed out.
Hi, good afternoon, evening. So I just kind of wanted to follow up
Get
on,
your name and,
oh, yes, sorry, introducing, yeah. My name's Chloe, I'm at 3 Winding Brook Road. So we wanted to follow up a little bit on the projects we asked about this summer, give you guys an update on that, and then follow up with a couple more that we're looking at in the future. So the electrical boxes, after we had asked you, we had went back to our correspondence with our neighbors, and there had been some correspondence we missed where there was some cold feet. And due to wanting to keep really great relationships with our neighbors, we no longer are painting the electrical boxes that are in front of the church in our headquarters, right there, I believe, 4 Main Street. In lieu of that, we have heard a lot of interest in the Church Street electrical box. So we would like to paint something similar on the Church Street electrical boxes, kind of a little bit past the park from Main Street. So we'd like to explore that with you during this meeting, and
And we want a different design because we utilized the design that was for the Main Street boxes for a mural. So that's what we.
yeah, we did end up taking the design that was originally approved for the first electrical boxes, and we had made a temporary mural that will go on the side of our building with approval from our landlord. So we already have that content in town. We wanted to think of something different but similar. So if you wanted to see the content, it's of a photo that was taken of the pumpkin regatta before. It will be in color. I was able to provide a sketch for you on the second page of our packet. So I guess what we're asking for is, do we have permission to explore painting that Church Street electrical box? And is this content of the pumpkin regatta approved right here?
Josh, you have,
I do have a question.
Yes.
Have you talked to any neighbors for this one, so once we either approve or disapprove that they're gonna be good?
Well, it's on town property.
So this is on town, this is fully on town property and town-owned electrical box,
Okay, well, the other electrical boxes were owned by the town as well,
but
correct?
not on town property.
I thought we said that they were originally, no?
One of them is,
One of
In
them
their
is
yard.
within the town right of way.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the only question I had.
okay, Jim, anybody?
I'm good.
Richard?
Good.
Mark?
All set, good.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this design for the pumpkin regatta at Church Street for the Goffstown Main Street electrical box, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, we ain't done yet.
I guess we also had another project.
Hold on.
Another project.
So I need a second.
Second.
Just a
Seconded
heads
by
up
Jim.
on
Any
the
further
other one.
discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion carries.
Thank you so much. And then just to be quick with your time, we have so many ideas going on.
Okay, we have a public hearing in 5 minutes, so.
Yep, we got you. Okay, so we also, following up on the Critters project from last year, we are taking that down, soon, and we wanted to follow up with something that was slightly more interactive this, for the next round, where we will be making pumpkins. Town loves pumpkins. And we are going to be inviting artists, community artists to paint these pumpkins. We will be providing them. It's not going to be necessarily a fundraiser like the scarecrows, where we'll be providing pumpkins and artists can paint them, and we will be partnering with
And where are
private
these pumpkins
businesses.
going?
They should be in front of private businesses. As you can see, we do see them potentially utilizing area in front of the sidewalk.
Not on sidewalks.
Not on sidewalks, but as you see, like kind of like the mulch in front of the sidewalk. I don't know if you count that as the sidewalk.
Who owns the mulch?
They're in town property, that
That's
was
in
part
town.
of the, that was part of the Main Street rebuild that was
yeah.
done.
So is that something you're gonna bring forward to us, or?
I guess
just
we can
throwing it
go-
at
we
us
can
right
go-
now without any heads up?
We can, so we just want to make sure that this is something that we can explore with you guys, because there's so much that has to go into then the logistics of it. So we just want to make sure, if we were to do this, can we display them? Can we explore displaying them on this kind of town property that is in front of a Main Street business, but technically town property?
Did you wanna
right
bring
there?
that up to the next meeting?
I guess we can do this
Yeah, I would
next
do
meeting.
that.
We can,
Okay, yeah.
I'll put them in touch with DPW. I think
Yeah.
one of the biggest concerns DPW may have is snow removal, which typically starts November 15th.
We'll remove them before we
Yeah.
can record.
But I can put you in touch with Adam.
And vandalism,
Yes.
the mess that they make, how's that gonna be handled?
We've not had any trouble with the critters, so.
Not one, yeah, we've
Not with the
already.
critters, but pumpkins are easily smashed.
Oh, no,
Oh, these are metal,
They're
these will
metal.
be
Oh,
metal
they're metal?
like the critters.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry, they're the
Basically,
same
you wanna remove
exact.
the critters and put the pumpkins in, basically.
Yeah,
I
there's
don't
the
have a
little
problem.
bugs.
Okay, that's different from what
I
I
think
thought.
Sorry
That's
about that,
regular
yeah.
pumpkins.
I think
So
that
if
would
the
be-
board's okay with the
I'm okay.
concept, are you
Yeah.
okay giving the logistics to DPW to work out with
Absolutely.
them?
Do we need to make a motion for that?
That'd be great.
I'd like to make a motion to allow DPW to work with Goffstown Main Street program on painted pumpkin patch, metal pumpkins.
Motion by Josh, second by Mark, any discussion? Seeing none,
So,
all in favor?
yeah.
Up, Jim?
Okay. So if DPW says it's okay, they don't have to come back here, that's it,
Right,
right?
correct.
Okay, all right, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion carries. You're all set.
Thank you so much.
Anytime.
I'm just gonna go ahead and start reading and then we'll.
That's fine.
Goffstown Select Board is conducting this public hearing in accordance with RSA 41:14A to accept public input regarding and granting a permanent easement across the town's rail trail, tax map 19 lot 47-6 to the Hemley Investment LLC, owner of tax map 5 lot 54. The Select Board is scheduled to vote on granting this easement on 9/22/25. Goffstown Planning Board approved the 30-unit residential condominium unit at 134 Mash Road, Lot 5, Lot 54 through 54-1 at their meeting on 9/28/23. The plan requires permanent access and utility easements across the town's rail trail. I will open the public hearing. Is there anybody here to speak to it? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, and again, we will take a final vote on 9/22/25. Thanks for stopping by it. Next up is library. We're gonna talk first about the parking lot.
Yes, Teresa Curtis, Chair of the Goffstown Board of Library Trustees, 43 Tipping Rock Road. And yes, we had two topics to talk to you about. The first one, I apologize for not getting it to you sooner than tonight, but is a request that we have. So if you are, or you may or may not be aware of, but there's a nice photograph of it on the handout. Our parking lot tends to flood when there is rain. The dry well has failed, and we are getting a lot more rain, a lot heavier, not always absorbing. It is creating a lake in our parking lot. It gets very deep at sometimes. So we're trying to deal with how do we address this problem. We did put $20,000 in the budget this year so that we could do repairs to the dry well. That is not going to be effective. So we went out, we worked with DPW, and I really want to thank Diane Hathaway and the folks at DPW for all the work they've done on all of this. Issued an RFP for the work and got one that made us kind of choke of $235,000 to fix our problem. Diane continued working with DPW, and we now have a plan which is going to cost us $40,231. The request that I'm here to ask from the Board of Trustees is an ask of $10,000 to help us fund that. We have $20,000 dedicated in the budget for this project. We have some funding that we believe we can postpone or do without to bring up some additional funds. We've also gotten 2 bequests from people who have passed and left money to the library that we can use before December 31st. Our preference is to not use all of the bequest money for maintenance of our parking lot. So we believe that if the town is able to find within its lines of the 2025 budget $10,000, we will have more than enough money to be able to go forward with this project. I did put in here alternatives so that you are aware of what we'd have to do. One of them is to use all of the bequest funds. I think that is a mistake because it's going to make people less likely to want to leave money to a town entity if they are going to be using that money for maintenance types of projects. We could put the money all in the 26 budget. We put $20,000 in this time. Instead, we could put make it $45,000 in next time. We'd end up lapsing that $20,000 because we wouldn't be able to encumber that money because we wouldn't have all of it to spend. We could go back to the planning board. We could modify our CIP request for a project to be funded in the 26 fiscal year with CIP money, or we can move forward, and this is going to be part of the second ask, with the capital reserve fund to try to fund this. We know the library has tried very hard to be proper stewards of our money, to take into account the valuable asset. We were just talking about our hallmark town. The library is a cornerstone of that. So it is with the rest of the board's approval that I'm here asking whether or not the select board would support helping us find an additional $10,000 to be able to fund this project.
Okay, next.
Okay.
We'll go on, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but go
Sure.
ahead, we're going
Yep.
to, anybody got any questions on that part?
No, but I,
Go
Go ahead, Jim.
no, I was just gonna say, I would like to hear the capital
Capital reserve fund?
reserve fund
Yeah.
story, because that's one of the alternatives, so.
It
That's
is one of the
why-
alternatives.
That's why I said let's move
Okay.
on to the next one.
So as you may or may not know, the library does not have a capital reserve fund. And I would, the board would like to explore putting a request for a capital reserve fund back on the warrant. It failed a couple of years ago. It failed for a number of reasons, but one of them is probably how much money we were asking for and not being as clear about what we were going to use that much money for right out the gate. I think we have taken that message, that we've heard it loud and clear as the Board of Trustees, and we do know what we would be using that money for. We know that we've got maintenance projects that are desperately needed. We know we have some facilities issues, including our bathroom, that needs to be addressed. We've got pricing on how much that type of thing would cost. We haven't completely come up with what the budget number is going to be, although I can tell you with confidence what we would be asking for in a capital reserve fund would be under $100,000 to initially seed it. I am aware from discussions I've had with Derek that this would not be something that would be able to come from, unanticipated funds. This would be something that would have to be directly funded. So it is a big ask because we weren't successful the last time, and we're going to have to make sure that we do a very good job explaining to the citizens of Goffstown why the Capital Reserve Fund is so vitally necessary in an old historic building that needs a lot of care. But we are looking for support of the select board as we move forward with that, because we want to have it go forward with approved by the select board on the warrant article. I can go into some details if you'd like about some of the things that we know we need to budget for and why we're going to be putting that capital reserve fund request together, if you'd like me to.
I would think the best thing to do in the capital reserve, because we're going to be coming into that season, is to actually have a full presentation. So we can, just not off the top of your head type thing, but
Okay.
an actual concrete thing, so we can really look at it instead of just getting an idea, well, we'll do a little bit of this, or we're gonna do some here, we're gonna do that.
Yep.
Something concrete that says, okay, this is what we're doing. Because what happens is, they're gonna say, oh yeah, they're gonna put this away until they have $7 million in their bank, and then they're gonna do, that's just the way some people think.
And I am cognizant of that, and we know that we need to have more. That's why I'm coming to you saying we know what the number is not going to exceed. But we don't have all of the details broken down quite yet. At this point, for the Capital Reserve Fund, I'm here looking for a sense of the board, whether or not this board would be adamantly opposed and therefore we should not go forward with a full presentation, or if there's a sense of the board that if we have done our homework correctly, that you would support us.
That wouldn't be fair to you, because until we see what you want to spend it on and what it's allocated to, is the only way that, and I wouldn't want to see it in writing myself. I'd want to have something definite to say, okay, this is what you told us you were going to do, and this is, we'll support or non-support. I can't speak for anybody else. And that's the way it should be done. Instead of just, well, what do you think if you do this? I won't do it that way. I mean, that's just to me, though.
Fair enough.
Jim?
And I'm not holding you to anything, but you said that you expect that it would be under $100,000, and would that include the money for this, 40,000 or 30,000, whatever it is?
No.
No, okay.
I
And
mean,
if-
it's possible, as I said, we haven't quite done all of the numbers, but I already know that we're at 75,000, so.
And you have 20,000 already?
We have, for the drainage
Yeah.
project, we have dedicated $20,000, a dedicated line in our budget for facilities maintenance that is $20,000 for this project. That's what we put in the budget.
And you already identified someplace
And
else
we've
to give another
already-
10,000.
Identified where we're going to get an additional, right now it's about 75, a little under 7,000, a little over 7,000. And then we are going to have to take some funds, probably a split between the two, the Booth and the Normando bequests, so that we don't wipe them out. And that leaves us with a deficit of $10,000.
And is it possible that we see a accounting of your monies that you have in different funds?
Absolutely, I believe Diane would be able to.
Richard gets them
Wi-
every
oh, yes.
month. You
Right,
get the financial.
Yes, I do, but I wouldn't be able to
Right.
cite them off the top of my head in
Yeah.
this meeting.
Right.
Right, we would go through and,
No, I'd like to look at it before I say, yes, 10,000. If we're looking at it, and we say, well, how about this money here, and how about this money here to cover that 10,000? So, and we're gonna do the same thing with Derek when we go to look for that 10,000, so.
Correct.
So I would like to have what you have for funds versus what we have for funds.
Correct.
Did you wanna come up front, Diane, and
Can I
speak?
just- I wasn't gonna say anything.
She was here for moral
I was-
support.
Yeah.
How'd that work out?
So just as and you know this, Peter, but money that the trustees use cannot be used without approval of town vote in March. So only the bequests are free to be used during the year that they're given. So that's why those other funds are great to know, but we can't use them this year.
No, what he's talking about is that extra $7,000, so we've got
Oh.
Those
$7,000,
funds, not-
where, what lines?
Oh,
are
I
we
can tell
cutting?
you that.
I knew
I'm
you
sorry,
could.
I misunderstood the question. I'm getting old,
Oh, or let me
you
make
know.
sure. Did I understand the
That's
question
exactly
correctly?
what I wanted to know.
Okay,
What
So-
other funds did you have that you can draw from? That's what I want.
Right.
So within our budget, we have not spent our legal line yet. That's $4,000. We have almost $2,000 left over from our G-Milk dues, which is our consortial dues. We have $750 that I am not gonna spend on furniture. We have a minimum amount of money to replace like chairs and things like that. So that comes to about $7,000 that I know that's available right now.
And then you said you had another 7,000 you could draw from your other funds?
we are looking at drawing, right, about $7,500 between the two requests. We have $15,000 between the two bequests. We're looking at using half of that.
Okay, so we're confusing dollars now. We originally had $20,000, right?
Correct.
We have that we still have that $20,000.
Now you were gonna fund the other 10,000 was 75 was from your other funds.
From savings in their operating budget.
No,
No, 7,000 from savings in our operating
It's
budget.
close to 7K.
Yeah.
I got less than 250 on that, still is missing, so.
And then you had the other funds that you could draw from, which
Right.
was another 7,500.
That's the bequest.
Those are the
The
bequests.
bequest.
So that's over $14,000, which gets you up to $34,000, so you're really short $6,000.
$6,000. That's what I was trying to get at.
Right. We decided to ask for 10 because there's always the possibility things are going to cost a little bit more than they were quoted to us.
Well, I'm not sure that that's how that works.
Well,
Like either you're a fixed amount, you know that's what it's gonna cost you, or it's not. So where is the quote for 40,231 coming from?
That's a cost estimate from DPW.
So
That's
DPW
not-
is
that's
gonna
not-
do the work.
No,
no.
So it's because our original, the only bid we received was astronomical. Eric Gustafson, who's been working with me at DPW, we broke the project down into parts. And then Eric and I got estimates for those different pieces. So for instance, part one is site work. Because the trench has to be dug,
Swales.
things need to be dug up, okay?
Okay.
And then the second part is the installation of the pumps from AAA Pump in Manchester. The third part is electricity. So an electrician has come out, we've talked, he's given us that. So we have quotes for those three parts, and that's where we came up with the total amount for the project.
What about paving it over afterwards?
It'll be patched only,
Okay.
because
And
we,
you got an estimate for that too?
yes.
It's part of the site work.
Yes, okay, sorry. Yes, and so the repaving that will need to be done can't be done until at least a year after because everything has to settle, the pump has to, we have to know that the pump works. So that is part of the CIP
That's part of
request
our-
that we've already made.
Okay. So there's more money coming relative to this that is in that CIP, is what I'm hearing.
Well, it's been requested from CIP, so yes, the
Right,
repaving
the
has been
repaving is
requested
a
through CIP.
$33,000 request in the 26 CIP budget.
So can you explain the comment about people will not donate if that money is used for maintenance, like, I don't understand that. Like, what is the expectation? Did they put constraints around the money that they're?
In this particular case, this is unrestricted, so they did not.
Okay.
But most people don't
Books.
donate to the library, leave a bequest in their will to the library so that they can point to the parking lot. They want to be able to know that they're supporting programs, they're supporting services, that they're supporting things that make the library, not the access into the library, important. Now, there are people who absolutely are donating money to the building, and that money is being donated not to the town, it's being donated to the Goffstown Library Foundation. But when most people leave $5,000, $10,000, it's because they care about the services and the programs that are being offered.
Well, people parking here is part of the services.
I don't know that I would agree totally with you on that.
So if they had nowhere to park and they couldn't get to the books, then how would the service be provided?
Well, we provide a great deal of services online and electronically. So there's a host of statistics that we can show you about those types of things that people use libraries without having to physically go to those libraries. However, basic care and maintenance of the pavements in front of the library is not what I would consider a library service that people would be bequesting money, because usually when you are bequesting money to a public institution, it's to support the parts that you love, and the parts that they love is what's happening within the building, not the things that are happening outside of the building. And I suspect that you and I could have a very long discussion.
We could, but I don't agree with that. So
Okay.
I'll just put
That's
it out
fair.
there, since you wanted to know where we stand. Like, I think the whole thing is the service. I think the books, the environment, the way it is the product. The library is the product and everything about it, not just the books that show up or the people inside. Everything about the building is the service.
Yeah, but Josh, if you're giving your money, you should be able to give it to an idea, to something that you're passionate about. And I have never seen anybody passionate about a parking lot.
I get that they're not passionate about the parking lot, but you would put constraints around that money when you give it to a place, typically.
How much money is in the foundation?
I am not privy to
The
that.
foundation is raising funds, matching funds for the L-CHIP grant for our window restoration project. So they can't fund everything right now. And the parking lot is not on there, is not a request that we've made of them.
So how many funds are we actually probably going to end up working with? We have one for the parking lot, one for windows, one for what? How many funds are we gonna be feeding?
The town doesn't have anything to do with the foundation.
Okay,
So they're a separate 501c3. They're raising money for capital expenses for the library. What they're focusing on right now is the matching money that we need for the L-CHIP grant that we promised we would apply for in order to restore the 116-year-old windows. So that's what they're working on right now. They don't have all the money yet, the entire match, but they're doing pretty well.
And tomorrow, L-CHIP?
Tomorrow we have our L-CHIP tour, so tomorrow morning.
Right, so the library has been working very hard to find alternatives to just asking and putting additional $40,000 into the budget next year to have this fixed. We've got most of the money, we're looking for the rest of the money. We are trying to go aggressively after grants, and I think that the team that is working on the L-CHIP grant, regardless of the matching funds coming from the foundation, the team that's working on putting together the request for L-CHIP money to pay for those windows are doing a fabulous job, and they've already gotten good feedback. Of course, nobody can guarantee anything until there's actually an award made, but they've been getting good feedback on what has been submitted. We're trying to be very judicious about the work that we have done. We're trying to prioritize it. We're trying to make sure it's identified and it's on a list so that we aren't saying, well, we know we have an old building and we're just going to need money to fix stuff. There will be always things like that. Our elevator is going to need to be repaired again. Remember that the physical plant hasn't been touched since the addition was put on 25 years ago. So if you're using the building as a cooling center and the air conditioning goes out as it has, that's going to be money that the library has to find somewhere in its budget. And we have been doing that. So in this particular case, we are coming and asking whether or not there could be funds found in perhaps lines that may have funding that will lapse in other town departments to be able to help pay for this repair.
Where did the $20,000 number come from?
That was an estimate from DPW last year during the budget process.
And we all choked when we got 235,000. 40,000 seems much more realistic.
Yeah, and I think it's good that DPW and you work together to try to find a more economical way to get there. You mentioned that the bequest funds also could be used for books and things like that, because that's the service that people want. So then I would ask, of the line items that you have in your current budget for books, how much is that?
We carry $46,000, a little over $46,000 in our materials line for all our physical materials, some of our electronic, digital content. So yes.
Okay. So is there anything there that you can use to offset and then use the bequest funds to buy books? So that way you can use that line to help with maintenance?
We spend the very minimum for our population on materials. I would strongly object to that. And the trustees are they're the people that I report to, and they've heard this before from me. We spend the very minimal for what for the demand on our organization.
I don't think anybody's arguing against that. I think that we're trying to find ways that we can pay for that in some way, not just pull it out of other line items in the town.
Then that's your decision, but this is a town-owned building, and I'm speaking as myself, not representing the board, but the trustees have funded almost everything for that building, and the town needs to try and do their part. And I don't personally think 10,000 is a huge ask.
Well, it's 6,000. Let's not say 10,000, it's 6,000, because that's the estimates that you've got. It's 6,000.
Whatever, Josh, but it's not a huge ask to get a project like this completed that we've been working on for 2 or 3 years now.
So, Richard, you've been at these meetings. Thoughts?
Yeah, I know the answer to this. How many times have you come before the board to ask for additional funding from the town's budget?
This is the first time in the 26 plus years I've been the library director.
So it seems to me that they wouldn't make this type of request if it wasn't important and if it wasn't well thought out. Say what you will about quoting and estimates, but you know, there always is the possibility that there are overages. I think that 10,000 is a relatively smart ask. They're not really asking for a ridiculous amount.
It's actually
That's right.
double they actually double what they told the budget committee that they needed to fix that.
Yes,
It went from 20,000 to 40,000.
That's true, but actually it went from 20,000 to 200,000 down to 40,000
Right.
because they kept sticking with it. They didn't. This is not just a whim. There's
Oh, no,
been
I'm
a lot of work put
I'm
into
not
this.
just saying, I'm just saying it's, it's double what they requested, so.
That's true.
Jim, did you have anything? Questions?
No, I think, I'd like to have some kind of plan. I'm unclear where we're going, and how we're gonna leave this tonight.
Well, we have to get Derek and Danielle to come and let us know where they look at, and we'd have to look at where, we have to go through our expenditures and see if this
but.
$10,000 or $6,000 or whatever.
And we don't have that until October, is that?
So, yeah, it's a snapshot in time. We'll have the August reports and we can provide some lines to potentially pull from, but we'll also need to talk to department heads and see what they have for overages that they're anticipating.
You said that's October?
But we could have an estimate to you at your next meeting. It's going to be on our expenses through the end of August, so you still have 4 months. But for speaking as a department head, I have right now 7 months of legal bills. I'm $20,000 over in legal bills. There are other lines I know where I'm over, there are other lines, so we'll have to talk with.
You need to do some work before you can
yeah,
commit to anything.
yeah.
I can see that. I hope you can understand.
And we
that.
absolutely, I was actually
So
hoping to
we're gonna
leave.
leave it here, that we're gonna research it and we'll let you know. Is that okay?
So do you want me to put this on the agenda for the
Please.
next meeting?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
we can do
There
that.
you go.
I want to thank you all for your time. Do you have any other questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
Derek, go ahead.
Okay, at tab 7A, you have your committee meeting scheduled for the next 2 weeks. Tomorrow night at 6 PM, you have the sewer commission meeting in this room.
I got it.
On Wednesday at 10 AM, Highway Safety Committee has a brief meeting. I think they have one item.
Got it?
Missing on this, there is a meeting on Thursday, September 11th at 10 AM. It's the Joint Loss Safety meeting. I missed that, so that would be 10 AM on Thursday. I think Jim.
This Thursday? right?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes. And then 7 PM will be planning board. That's a presentation of the CIP matrix and then whatever they have for applications. Next week on Tuesday, the budget committee will be meeting at the high school at 6 PM.
Yes.
On Wednesday at 6 PM, Goffstown River Advisory Committee.
Got it.
6:30, Library Board of Trustees at the Public Library. And 7 PM will be the Parks and Rec Commission.
Got it.
At your next page, you have your consent agenda. You have employee status reports for an hourly full-time firefighter. This is their military incentive per the language in their CBA. There's also a full-time hourly firefighter for successful completion of probationary period and a move to step 1 per CBA. And then at DPW, you have the hiring of a full-time laborer. This is a promotion from a seasonal laborer to a full-time hourly laborer. You have a special event permits for St. Anselm football for their fall games 2025. And then you have 2 off-cycle betterment assessments. This is for Lynchville Danis Park water betterments. The first is in the amount of $1,739.98 for map 24 lot 27. And then $1,833.48 for map 21 lot 66.
Make a motion to approve the consensus agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Mark, seconded by Jim. Any discussion, questions? Question is, did you receive anybody else somebody called me, I think it was on Sunday, and wanted to know how to get a special event permit. I was for another road race.
For another road race, I know that we've got one pending, but they had to make some changes to it, and Catherine's been working with them. I don't know if that's the same person, but
Okay.
yeah, if you have them reach out directly to Catherine, they can
That's
help
what I
them.
did.
Yep.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
The next, you have a volunteer appointment for the Historic District Commission and Heritage Commission. The HTC met on August 27th and made a recommendation that the board appoint volunteer Davis Allen as a regular member for a 3-year term.
Motion to appoint Davis Allen as a regular member to the Goffstown Historic District Commission and Heritage Commission for a 3-year term expiring March 31st, 2028.
Second.
Motion by Mark, seconded by Richard. In discussion, questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
The next item you have the MS 535. This is the financial report of the town for the year ending December 31st, 2024. I don't know if Danielle, if you wanted to hit any of the highlights or answer any questions I may have.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, so
Did you want to point out a couple of things, or?
Yeah, I mean, as you see in the memo, the MS 535 is a pretty lengthy document in and of itself. It is a state standard form, so we are kind of stuck to how it appears on the form. But some of the highlights, we were about 4.4% under the voted appropriations. That's about 1.1 million. The encumbered funds at the end of the year, of course, go to the fund balance, which is a separate sheet on that 535 report. So those carry forward and impact the actuals for the following year. The general fund revenues came in about 4% over what was originally projected. And in this case, that's only about 340,000, but it is positive, so that's good. And the key is the unadjusted, unassigned fund balance was listed at 9.25 million. And we know that we already had town meeting in March that allocated 350,000 to that fire apparatus. So that gives us an adjusted unassigned fund balance that's gonna bring us to about 8.9 million. So when we get to tax rate setting, you'll see that on the form. We do expect that that 8.9 million may be above the 12% minimum, but not by a lot. So once we have the true figures from DRA for all of the entities that go into that calculation, we'll be able to give you a better idea of what may be available at tax rate setting or for next year's budget.
That's in October.
Yes.
Can I ask?
Jim?
That 12% that we agreed to, is there any, are there any repercussions from DRA or anywhere if we don't stay above that? I'm not saying we should go below it, but I'm just curious.
No, it is set by the board's policy, and the board's policy has specific parameters about when you can go above or below it, what the target's going to be, and what the uses are allowable under the policy.
So we control all that.
Do you have a question?
No.
Continue. That's it?
That's really it for the
Anybody got
535.
any more questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the MS 535 as prepared by the town's auditing firm, Classic and Sanderson, PA. I was gonna butcher that, so I didn't wanna.
Second.
Motion by Josh, seconded by Jim. Any questions and stuff? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries.
Okay.
I'll stay up here for the next one too,
Yes.
because I was involved in that.
So the next one is, we've got it titled as a tower lease, but it's really a memorandum of understanding between the town and the Merrimack Valley Amateur Radio Association. And again, I'll let Danielle speak to this as she was worked on the review of the contract.
So this came to us from both the fire and police chiefs. They, through Merrimack Valley Amateur Radio Association, they have been approved for a grant that allows them to purchase equipment. However, they would need to mount this equipment on the tower. This is the Tower Summit up on Mount Uncanunic. There's a mutual benefit in that it assists if main communications are down, as the gentleman mentioned earlier. That's something that's of interest to the town as well. And the contract that you see in your packet, or the MOU, I should say, is one that has been reviewed both by our insurance company, Primex, as well as town's legal counsel. So language modifications were made from those two entities, and the association agreed to those changes. So what you see is really the full term of the agreement. You'll notice it doesn't have any dollar amounts because it's an MOU rather than a lease. And there's no specific term, as it's to be up there indefinitely so long as the 501c3 is operational.
And I assume the tower's within good standing, yeah?
Yes, this is our tower. This is the one they just built.
Okay.
And is there anything in here that states that if the system or their equipment, it gets outdated and that they have to take it down, or?
I don't believe so. It does say that they do defend, indemnify, and hold harmless. They do have to carry insurance separately for the equipment, and that any amendments to the agreement shall be done so in writing between the select board and their association.
Make a motion to approve the proposed memorandum of understanding between the town of Goffstown and the Merrimack Valley Amateur Radio Association Incorporated.
Second.
Motion by Josh, seconded by Jim. Any more further questions or discussions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion carries.
Thank you.
Next.
So at tab F, you have a recommendation. I've been working with Mary Lou Community Preschool, who is rents a portion of the first floor at Grassmere Town Hall, as well as storage on the third hall. They also have the outdoor play area located in front of the building. Working with the board of directors, we have made some slight modifications. Previously, both the town and the preschool were having fire inspections done at the same time of year, which didn't make a whole lot of sense. So the town has kind of taken over the recharging of 2 of the fire extinguishers in the preschool space and taking care of the entire fire inspection as part of the fire alarm and sprinklers that we have there. One of the benefits of having Mary Lou there is they're the first one to give us a call if the heat is out or hot water or something like that. What I'm proposing is a 2-year lease. This was something that I worked with the board, the preschool board earlier this year, and it got delayed. So this would actually begin on July 1st of 2025 and carry it for 2 years. And each year would be a 3% increase on the rent over the prior year.
And they're aware of the increases?
Yes, yep, made them aware. Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the attached 2-year lease between the town and Mary Lou Preschool for Grassmere Town Hall for a period of July 1st, 2025 to June 30th of 2027.
Second.
Motion by Josh, seconded by Mark. Any further questions? Anybody?
Just one comment, like, love Mary Lou Preschool, all my kids went there, and they're just really great for the town.
Any further questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries.
As you know, the fire chief is retiring, and I think earlier this year he had brought some proposed changes to the fire chief job description, as we currently are advertising that internally. So what we'd like to do is just memorialize those and have the board approve the updated job description for the fire chief. Primarily, most of the changes in here include changes to the current department divisions. They now have the community risk reduction department and the use of select board. There's also clarifies that the fire chief is the emergency management director. That is a kind of a role or a hat that's been bounced back between police and fire, but we would like that in the fire chief. And then also removes deputy health officer. And then there's a few other minor changes, but most of them are just to bring it up to date with current language used at the fire department.
Why was it struck out that the chief may be responsible for operating any of the equipment or anything like that? Was that put someplace else?
Which page?
That would have been on page 40 in our packet. Basically leaves the environment that they utilize, not operate any computers or standard office equipment such as telephone, facsimiles or machine, and then basically got rid of all the equipment aspects. I mean, I would want the fire chief to understand how the equipment should be working, should be able to show it to people there, just like any of the leadership in the fire team.
So, to answer that question, it's my understanding that the chief had recommended this change because the work environment is really the day-to-day operations. The chief is still required under all of the sections that talk about the skills, knowledge, and whatnot of the position to have training in all of those pieces of equipment. However, if the chief is at a fire, he would be on the outside of the fire working with incident command, rather than being the one on the front line operating that equipment, so it wouldn't be part of the day-to-day work environment.
And it's still under, on the top of page 39, under skills. It still does have operates fire, EMS vehicles, apparatus, tools, and equipment, so it would still be a required skill, but it would most likely not be their primary work environment. It would really be the people that they're supervising.
He's not the guy that's gonna jump and drive the truck, is what this,
I don't think he is. It says maybe, so like, we got rid of the maybe, so like, if everybody's incapacitated, are we saying that the fire chief is no longer required help at that point in time?
No.
Under knowledge, skills, and ability, there's a section about extensive knowledge of operating principles, practices, procedures, equipment, and apparatus used in modern firefighting. Probably covers.
It says
your
skills,
concern.
but my concern is basically removing any sort of requirement around that. So are we saying that fire chief is only responsible for being outside, leading and directing? That's what I'm asking.
No. I don't believe that's the.
And I think that's where I think the fire chief put in while working in the fire administrative offices in that first one. And then the first bullet on page 40 does indicate that it's primarily performed within an office, however, there are, some work is performed at the emergency scene, so I don't know that that changes their work environment.
I don't know, knowing firefighters, I don't know if they would be able to resist not helping. Just,
That's true.
you know, am I right or wrong?
You're right.
Yep.
I think a lot of the other changes were really good.
I got one other one on page 36. Under where it says position or purpose, it says job summary, nature of work. We remove the nature of work and put scope of work. Is that something that, I think scope kind of fits in a little better.
Whereabouts are you?
Right on the first position purpose, right up on the very top, under fire
Oh,
chief.
yeah.
It says job summary, nature of work. Take the nature of work out and put scope of work.
Yeah, I agree.
Just one of my thoughts.
Good one.
And I think the nature of work follows what the fire department has used for their standard, the standard format for their job descriptions. I think that, so, I don't know if the board has a preference of changing all of them. I think he was just going for,
I think scope, I agree with Mark, like it should encompass what they're supposed to do. Nature is kind of like, hey,
And I'd be in favor also to replace where it says nature of work, to put scope of work.
yeah, I'm looking at some of their other job descriptions and it has job summary, nature of work. So I think he was just following their.
I think leave it alone, just be consistent with everybody else. Is that why you think you did it that way?
Yes, that's what
Yeah.
I'm seeing in the other
I
job
mean, it's-
descriptions.
Yeah, it's just the section title. It used to be position purpose, and they recommended no changes to the actual section other than the title. And it was really just to match up to their
To the rest of them.
formatting.
Yeah.
I think I still agree with Mark. It should be scope.
That's fine, I don't really care. That's same. Like you said, he's just doing it to be consistent with other fire department, literature or job descriptions, so. Jim, where you at? You don't care?
I'm okay with scope.
Okay. Anything else?
Need a motion to change it, or?
Yeah, we'd just be looking for a board motion to change it, and then if there's any changes that you want to make this evening, if you could indicate those so we can make sure
I'll
that we.
make that motion to change the nature of work to scope of work. On page 36.
And approve all the other changes suggested? Or
Sure, yeah.
What are the changes?
the ones that are here already? Isn't that
Oh,
what?
no, yeah, no, yeah, yeah.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mark, seconded by Josh. Any further questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries.
Thank you. At page 41, tab H, we have recommended fee updates from DPW. Again, this authority was granted by town meeting in 2016 to the select board. Prior to establishing or amending any fees, we do need to hold a public hearing. So what Adam has brought forward is proposed changes on page 42 and 43 to some of their solid waste fees as well as cemetery fees. And we would just be looking for concurrence and a vote to go to public hearing for September 22nd, if you concur with the proposed changes.
Adam, anyway, we're gonna ask Adam a few questions about these.
Evening.
How you doing, Adam?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. On the first one that you had,
Yes.
relative to the 10 cubic foot container for household hazard waste, the
Yes.
$2 a pound, I assume we're losing a lot of money on that one, is that what's happening on that?
Yes, so, on the hazardous waste, originally, we used to have the first, what was it, 100 pounds was free for residents, non-residents paid right from the beginning, and we charged $1 a pound, to keep it simple. Our, scale at the, transfer station is certified by the state, so it's an actual weights and measures type thing.
Yeah.
We have always operated as sort of a loss leader with hazardous waste, just to take it out of the waste stream. We had recommended changes 2 cycles ago to go to the per cubic foot, because we were, for the most part, paying the people that collect it from us by the cubic foot in these Gaylords. So we thought, hey, maybe we could get at least a better sense of what we spend versus what we
Yeah.
take in. The problem is it comes in so many different varieties, like a bag of fertilizer, a spray bottle of this, a can of paint, who knows what from
Yeah.
grandma's kitchen. So it's really hard for the guys to say, well, this all would fit into 5
Yeah, they can't-
cubic
they
foot
can't measure
containers.
that.
So it sounded good in theory, but it's not working out in
Okay.
practice. And so I'd like to take the opportunity to go back to the more simple weights and measures based setup, but also, yes, to try to gain a little bit more revenue. We will still be definitely operating at a loss for hazardous waste. I'd still recommend we operate that way, but
Okay.
I think we could stand to increase the revenue.
I think
a
it'd be
little bit.
good to know where we stand afterwards, just if I'm lost and stuff
Okay,
like that.
next,
Sure.
you have another one?
Yeah, just can you go through the propane piece, like,
Yes, so these weren't really big enough to warrant their own changes back in the spring. The real reason I'm here tonight is the cemetery trustees wanted 2 new fees.
Yeah.
I've taken the opportunity to add these. Propane, we pay a little bit more than $2 each to get rid of them. So
Okay.
I figured we don't want to lose money in every one
Yep.
of these little, that comes in. And same with the antifreeze for our hazardous waste collector. It's a little bit more than $1 a gallon, so.
they're still gonna be lost leaders?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, antifreeze, gas, that kind of stuff is always gonna be a little bit.
Okay, and then on the last 2 that you said you really wanna talk about?
Yeah, so cemetery trustees had requested a couple of new fees. They, at our recommendation, want to establish a new fee for a cremation urn vault, which would allow the town to purchase a small supply, a couple of these to have on hand. If somebody comes in with cremains but hasn't purchased a vault yet to go on the ground and protect it, we would be able to sell it to them for the cost that we purchase, and this is just an Amazon type purchase, so we'd pay about $100 each, and this would include the cost of the additional staff time to get it and keep it and all that.
How many
kind
of these
stuff.
are we getting?
I would just say we probably would only need 2 or 3 on hand. We don't have that many people that come in that don't already have one from the,
Yeah.
from the funeral home. But occasionally, somebody might have remains that are 10 or 12 years old and they don't have an option. So the trustees wanted to have an option, make it easier for
Learn
folks.
something new every day.
And then temporary markers, that's another one the trustees would like. We run into this situation where someone buys a lot under duress. They might have a loved one that's passed away. They request a service as soon as possible, and they either don't have the money or the monument company hasn't provided a monument yet for us. The trustees really want to get away from the practice of an unmarked burial. So this is something that we would be able to provide, a small, polyurethane or plastic, something very simple, basic marking, but at least it would be there. It'll prevent us from double selling a lot or some question about where these remains might have gone to the ground. So both of those are requested by the trustees.
Anybody else? Motion?
Make a motion to schedule a public hearing on Monday, September 22nd, 2025, for the purpose of amending the master fee schedule as discussed here tonight.
Yep.
Motion by Josh, seconded by Mark. Any discussion, questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, and the final item we have at tab I, or page 44, we have a request from a property owner for a waiver from the town's noise prevention ordinance. The property owner has been working with DPW as well as the sewer department and the police department. They need to excavate into Mass Road at 144 South Mass. I say 144, it says 140 in your, we just got the new addressing from the fire department today. And this is for sewer and water line hookup for a newly created lot at 144 South Mass. So this was a subdivision that was approved by the planning board in June of this year. Property owner has applied for and received a building permit, as well as has applied for a street excavation permit and a sewer application. They met with staff. Because the sewer line is 10 feet deep and is on the north side of the road, they really need to open up the entire road, and this is a main thoroughfare that also goes right by the school. So the recommendation from DPW staff was to seek a waiver from the board to do this at night to minimize impact to truck traffic and other traffic. We did talk with the excavation company. They anticipate doing this project in mid-October. And they anticipate this being a one-night project starting at approximately 7 p.m. and ending before 7 a.m. And then the excavation company is responsible for providing 2 police details, and all the details about where the detour would be is in your packet, but that may be subject to future modifications by the police department.
And would you have somebody on staff that would be there to?
Normally, we wouldn't. I believe the sewer commission plans to have full-time site inspection oversight, either Corey or his assistant.
Is that our road?
It is town section. It's just short of the
DOT.
Urban Compact. Thank you, Derek. Urban Compact line. So it's the Urban Compact line is right at Park Lane, and this is just inside the.
And there's no mandatory, no excavation on that section?
David, like a moratorium.
Yeah.
Currently, that piece is not under moratorium. That's one of the last sections of South Mass that hasn't been touched in a long time.
Okay.
So there's that. Scott did notify the excavation company. As Derek mentioned, they're now saying might be mid-October. They're going to be bumping up, if that gets pushed, bumping up with the winter restoration rules, which are a lot more onerous. They would have to cut back a bigger section of the street and go curb to curb patch. So the hope is they could get it done in a smaller area and not have to do it under winter rules. I think if that was the case, we might come back for some maybe additional.
When's the cutoff for that?
Requests. I believe it's November 15th in the street excavation rules, but
I got the email here.
I didn't print that part
But they
out,
are,
sorry.
whatever they're busting up, they're repairing.
Yes, yep, so they would trench patch, and then our normal street excavation rules would apply, so they own that patch for a year. if
So
there's any-
what would
So winter work starts November 15th, so it's November 15th to April 1st is winter
What
work.
would the penalties be if they can't get it done in one night?
I don't know if there would be necessarily a penalty. There would be some traffic impacts depending on how far they get with that work, and when they have to pull the ripcord and say, okay, we've got to get this street reopened. I would think we would want to avoid at all costs having Mass Road closed.
I would
during the
say
day.
that would be mandatory, that the road be open by 7.
7 o'clock in the
Yeah.
morning?
You know, if there's some, obviously, if there's a catastrophic issue, we would set up with them an additional detour. The main detour for us, if we were gonna work on Mass Road, would be Henry Bridge to Elm Street. Because this is a night work, and PD will be at both ends, they recommended the shorter detour of Norman to Wallace. But if we were going to detour Mass Road during the day, we'd wanna set that up via Henry Bridge and Elm. So if,
We still got school access and that kind of stuff going
Exactly.
through there. so.
Can we put that in this contract or whatever, that by 7 o'clock the road needs
It's in
to be?
there.
I didn't
So-
see it. Where is it? I didn't see it.
So
I got it,
the
I got it,
actual
I got it.
the governing, I guess, the waiver is required because you really can't do this type of excavation between 9 PM and 7 AM. So I would say if you want to attach any conditions to a waiver of the noise ordinance to allow this after hours, you could include a condition that it be completed or at least buttoned up so that through traffic can go by a certain time.
And I
so
think the
Mike-
best mechanism for that would be, if you decide to do that, just let me know and we will put it as a condition on our street excavation permit, because that's the governing.
This request is for a noise ordinance.
Yes.
What we're asking for is different than the noise ordinance.
Right.
We're asking for something that has to do with construction. So does that have to be taken in a separate?
So that would be normally something we would handle under the street excavation permit. So if the board feels strongly about not having any work on Mass Road during the day, you would, not to put words in your mouth, but instruct me to put that as a condition on the permit.
So I think what
Normally
we need to do first is take care of the noise ordinance. I don't think can we add construction onto a noise ordinance request?
No,
I would say we take care of the noise ordinance first.
I'll make a motion to waive the provisions for Goffstown noise prevention ordinance allowing overnight street excavation and sewer and water line installations at 140 South Mass Road, map 31, lot 7-1, with overnight date to be determined by the town, DPW, and police in conjunction with property owners excavation company.
Second.
Motion by Josh, seconded by Jim. Any further discussion, questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion carries.
So,
Now, if we want to put some kind of a stipulation on it, I think, are you going to do that, or?
I think that's the mechanism would be the street opening permit. This would be a unique case, I'll just say this for the record, because we don't normally put such onerous conditions on a street opening permit, but in this case where it would be an effective complete closure of Mass Road, I think it would be warranted.
well,
if
they're
the
planning,
board-
I think to your point, Adam, they're planning on getting it all done that night.
Yes.
My concern would be the next day, like, what is the plan around it? Like, if they end up having a catastrophic event, which any activity always can have one,
Yep.
are they responsible for paying for police details to get stuff
Oh, yeah.
moved around?
Yeah,
Like, how does that
That
work?
goes without saying, that anything that construction, they're responsible for. But I want to make sure that,
We would.
any stipulations we put on it has to go in that open permit. And I would hope that you're going to bring that back to us.
I normally wouldn't.
But you don't need to?
Because they're right out of our office,
Okay,
we're
that's
delegated
fine.
that, but we certainly could.
You know our
I think
concerns.
The additional detour signage, in the sake of public safety and trying to get things moving, I'm sure we would jump right on our message trailers and stuff too, but there might be some after.
Just need to make
the
sure we
fact.
have a backup plan, I think,
Exactly.
is what it is, Adam.
You know, and obviously, as you mentioned, right next to the school, it makes it a tricky spot twofold.
And I think Peter said he'd be willing to hold a sign in the morning.
Just reading this and expecting. to
Peter
get-
who?
Just reading this and expecting to get a lot of ledge or rock or.
I think the expectation is mostly sand from what the sewer department's encountered in that little stretch. We haven't, I'm trying to think if we even have much drainage right there. We do pretty close, but.
Okay, so we'll leave that in your capable hands.
Okay.
Anything else? Move on to,
Did you make a motion and a vote on that?
on what?
The first one we did on the.
You did on the noise ordinance
Yeah, but we're
waiver,
not- he's handling,
so you're just gonna,
he's
okay,
gonna handle the excavation.
okay,
Doesn't need to come back to us.
okay, understood.
Let's go to old business.
Thank you.
Yeah, don't leave.
Oh, all right.
You got a lot of equipment down over here. What's the story?
Yeah, right. You know, if you don't do any work, nothing breaks.
Fuel leak and front brakes repair and process. That was on 9/5. This is all 9/5.
Yes, so with the
Oh,
holiday.
so one of them's back in
Sorry.
service.
Yeah, the
Yep.
371 was
Yeah.
out, but that's back in service. And I think Cass said that you're watching it, monitoring it.
Kenworth isn't positive they actually knew what fixed it, so they're not sure it really is
Oh, boy,
fixed.
here we go.
So,
Okay. Anybody got any questions on that?
Nope. Can't wait to see that bill.
And the first one is gonna be the next meeting, Derek?
Yeah, I actually got a request from this, police chief today to have the firm come in and do a full presentation for the board
Okay.
on the 22nd.
Second one down is out. And so that, we're done with that.
What is, I had a question, what is that alternative program grant that we didn't get?
That was for the pedestrian bridge. That was the one that the ad hoc committee met last week
That's
to
right.
discuss next options. We were just so far down in DOT's ranking. The state is holding public hearings around the state. We'll make the ad hoc committee, I get the schedule today, and we'll send that out to members if they wanna go and advocate, but I think there was $14 million worth of projects between us and what.
And they added two without even having a ranking, which I don't understand how those got added in.
Yeah, so yeah, DOT used some of that money to put to other projects that didn't go through the application process, so.
Okay.
So that grant at this point is kinda kaput.
We didn't get the grant at this time, so they took it out.
Yeah, but it didn't say what the grant was for, so I was just.
Yeah, we didn't get the grant. The committee may come back with a recommendation. They're writing that up.
Yes, they're drafting a report back to the select board of kind of a status, this is where we are.
And to see if we're okay with extending that, so,
With this what?
there's still some very advocate people on the committee that want to see it successful. And we discussed the possibility for, them to raise money or funds in some way, shape, or form to push that through, the rail trail, which was offered, for them to gain funds to like get design work or whatever. They're gonna come back, Andy and company will come back with a written, response on that because the committee still is there until May of 2026.
Anything else? Okay.
We do have some non-public items.
Right, I need a motion.
Motion to go into non-public, section RSA 91A, colon 3(2) for C, effects adverse on the reputation of any person other than a member of the public body itself. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Second.
Motion by Mark, seconded by Jim. That'll conclude tonight's, all in favor, I'm sorry.
All right.
Aye.
And that'll conclude tonight's,
We need yes.
Roll call for that one.
Yes.
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 That'll conclude tonight's public portion of the meeting. Thank you for watching.